I know you're probably thinking that making plans for retirement is going to take forever. But what if I could told you that you could do something like this and create a game plan in just under 60 minutes? Let me show you how to secure your future and create that plan just as fast together right now. All you're going to need is your computer or your laptop, or if you want just to do it by hand, one of my favorite tools, of course, is a pen, pencil, a few highlighters, and a great notebook. So let's get started. Step number 1, let's define your goals. This section is going to take you just about 10 minutes. Here are your action items. Number 1, you need to think about and define your lifestyle. What is it that you are looking to do? And take your time to think about these things. Envision your lifestyle. What is that going to look like? Here are some ideas to think about. Where are you going to live? What activities are you going to pursue? Think about all those things that you had in your mind when you were working and you're saying to yourself, you know what, when I retire, I am going to do X. Is it travel? Is it picking up a new hobby? Is it learning how to play a new instrument? Is it learning how to cook a different cuisine? What are some of those things that are really exciting to you that you decided to put off? How much is it going to cost me monthly? And I want you to ballpark this idea. Don't go down the rabbit hole of actually figuring out how much the travel is, how much the courses are going to be. Just put down a certain number in pencil. Next, list your major goals. Is it something potentially you want to downsize to a smaller home? Maybe you want to buy yourself a convertible that you've been dreaming about. Maybe it's a boat, a piano, whatever it may be, goes here. The tool that you can use for this is Online Planning Calculator, and I'm going to list some of the suggestions under this video that you can easily head over there and use them if that is something that you're looking forward to. Step number 2 is let's assess your current financial situation. This section is going to take you about 15 minutes. Here are your action items. Number 1, list your current savings in your retirement accounts. So what we're talking about here is everything that you have put away, everything that you worked so hard for. So it could be a government pension, a private pension, your 401k, your traditional IRA, your Roth IRA, savings, checking accounts, things like that. Next, let's calculate your current monthly expenses that you have at home right now. Next, you're going to add up all of your debt that you currently have. And this could be mortgage, credit cards, loans. And then next to them, you're going to probably have to go and look at those items, is you're going to write down when is your payoff date for each of these items. And here I also recommend that you use a tool. It could be a very simple budgeting spreadsheet that I have shared with you in the past. But again, I'm going to link this tool for you under this video so that way you can easily refer to it. You can download it, save it, and use it yourself and play with those numbers. Step number 3 is now let's calculate your savings gap. And this process is going to take you another 10 minutes. Action item number 1. Now we're going to determine your expected retirement income. So here, I suggest that you head over to socialsecurity.gov, which is where you can determine what your desired Social Security income is going to be. You can also get your pension estimates figured out and your passive income, whether it's something like a passive income from a business or maybe some other investments that you may have. Then you're going to take your estimated retirement income and then subtract your estimated monthly retirement expenses. Number 3 is going to be identifying the gap and estimating how much you will need to have annually to actually bridge that gap. So let's work through this for a moment. The gap is maybe a surprise for you. It could be something small or it could be something larger. But again, this is the point of this exercise. We're going to see if you have saved enough or if you are closing to actually saving enough that you think you are going to need. This is where having an online calculator is going to be very helpful for you. When you are on the website like socialsecurity.gov, that calculator is also going to give you the ability to play with numbers to see what would happen if you took your Social Security early, if you decided to do it at your normal retirement age, or if you decided to wait a little bit longer. And then you can use those numbers to see what makes sense for you and what makes you feel the most comfortable. There are some other retirement calculators that I find very helpful where you can play with numbers and it's going to show you when you change those numbers, what exactly is going to change. And when you see those numbers, write them down and then decide how you feel about what you are seeing. The benefits of those calculators also is the ability to reverse engineer your numbers. Let's say that you had in your mind a fact that you had to have a $5,000 income for your monthly well living during your golden years. The ability to reverse engineer, meaning that if I wanted to have $5,000 per month, what would I have to have saved and how much debt would I have to have and how many expenses I would need based on what I have going on right now, is the ability to be able to just go back and forth, change those numbers until you come up with a good average balance, something again that is going to be flexible, but you're going to feel comfortable about seeing those numbers. And then you can write those numbers down to use them as a ballpark, as a reference point. Step number 4 is what we're going to do is set up a savings and investment plan, and this is going to take you about 15 minutes. Action items are, number 1, you are going to decide on the savings goal for this coming year. This is how we're going to take it. We're going to make it a yearly goal, and then we're going to break it down in smaller pieces. Because when you're thinking about a yearly goal, it could be thousands of dollars, and it could seem very, very scary and unattainable. But don't worry, we have that covered. When you have a savings goal, my recommendation to you is automate the contributions that you decide on so that way you don't have to think about them. Automation means automatic payments, deductions every 2 weeks, every month, but make them on a regular basis for sure. Ensure that you are contributing the maximum amount that you feel comfortable with for your 401k contributions, for your Roth IRA, and for your traditional IRA. If you have a match that you get for your 401k plan, make sure that you are contributing at least the percentage where the employer is going to say, if you're contributing 4%, we're going to match 4%. And that should be your minimum amount that you are putting away through your 401k plan. Choose a mix of investments. This is where a lot of the professionals are talking about the fact that it has to be a combination of bonds as well as stocks, depending on your risk tolerance and also depending on how close you are to your retirement target date. So a few good financial apps that you can use are Betterment, Vanguard, and Fidelity. And I'm also going to link them under this video to see which one may be a good fit specifically for you. At the same time, if you haven't retained one or you do have a financial advisor, it's always a good time to check in with them to see what they think about your strategy, and maybe they can make their own recommendations as well. Step number 5 is going to take you about 10 minutes, and that is to create a backup plan for flexibility. So here are your action steps. Number 1, please tell yourself, have a serious conversations with yourself, and let's just say that saving for retirement, saving for a rainy day fund is not an option. Just like we all need to sleep and eat and have doctor's appointments and have to go to work, we choose to go to work, we also need to realize that saving for retirement is just as important. It is just not negotiable. And that is what you need to tell yourself and get that as a fact, and that's just how it is. Number 2, your savings are going to come before spending, before even, if you can, paying Uncle Sam for your taxes. So 401k or pre-tax dollars are going to come out before you actually get your paycheck. And that is the goal, to help you make sure that you earn, then you save, and then the rest you're going to spend according to a very good strategy. Number 3, Realize that life is going to come at you and life is going to happen whether you like it or not. And you just need to tell yourself it is what it is. So that way you are not upset, you're not frustrated, and you're not backtracking when that tire blows or your heating and air conditioning breaks, because it is going to happen. So just go along with it. And that is why it's so important to have a rainy day fund, something that you put aside that is a minimum of 3, best even to go as high as 6 months of your expenses. That brings me to my 4th point. Let's work on building your emergency fund. If you don't have one yet, I strongly recommend that you work on it first before you save for retirement. That is something that's just going to give you a peace of mind. If something were to happen and you had to shell out a significant amount of money, whether your car breaks down, whether it's some kind of repairs that you have to do in your home, you're going to tell yourself, not a problem. I have money saved. I was expecting it, and it's going to be okay. A few strategies to help you get this fund up and running quickly. If it's the end of the year and you know that you're going to get a bonus, that's amazing. Take that bonus and stash it straight into your savings account. Make sure that you have that money in the high yield savings account so that that way that money works for you. If it is tax time and you know that you are getting a refund, take that money and put it in your savings as well. If you are getting a raise, that is amazing. Pat yourself on the back and take that money on autopilot every 2 weeks. Every time you get a paycheck, you're going to take that salary increase and you're going to move it automatically into your savings account. This way, you don't even see it and you're not going to miss it because you're still getting the same amount of money to use for your expenses every paycheck. The next point is for you to think about and consider the fact that there is an opportunity for you to still have a nice and interesting job when you're retired. So don't take that completely out of equation. When you are working now full time and you're thinking that you're going to retire, why not have a part-time job, a part-time opportunity that is doing something that you enjoy? Let's say you enjoy interacting with people. Well, why not work in a coffee shop? You can do it a few days a week. You can have interaction, have a schedule, and also get paid for that. If you like books, you can work in a bookstore. If you like DIY and projects, Home Depot and Lowe's could be a good option for you. So I really want you to think about it and see what opportunities that can be for your particular situation. Point number 6 is just to remember that you are going to revisit this plan every 6 months or so. Don't think that what you are creating today is going to be set in stone and that is it. That's not true. You need to be flexible because your plan is probably going to have kinks. It may not work once you get started on it. So think of it as like a rubber band. You're going to be stretching in different directions using a pencil and making adjustments as you go to see when you come up with that final big puzzle that works for you just fine. Here, the tools to use are the same financial apps that we mentioned before, and using your notebook, your journal to help you jot down your thoughts, suggestions as you're making progress and you're going through your timeline. By the end of these 60 minutes, which is only an hour, my goal is to have you have an action plan, clear understanding on what you're trying to accomplish, as well as an action plan on where are you going. Just remember that you may want to use a Google Calendar to help you set up a reminder to revisit your plan on a regular basis, because what you have created right now is just a start. It's going to take time to figure out the best way to have this plan mold for your situation. So, what tips and tricks do you have for us that maybe you are using already that you can share with others? Please post them in the comments so that way we can help each other out to plan for the best golden years possible.